r/ask Reddit. What the weirdest thing you did while you were high? I set a hot pocket in the microwave and put in my pin number for the cook time. How long did it cook for? 10.77. Same as a cheese pizza and a large soda where I used to work. One time years ago I was camping at a campground with my wife and a few friends. We're all sitting around the fire drinking. Her brother and I go for a walk to smoke some joints. We finish that and I have to piss, so he goes back to the group. And when I'm done I head back as well. So I get back and I'm pretty baked at this point and I'm just standing there watching the fire and drinking my beer for a few minutes. I then noticed a particular Coleman lantern on the picnic table and thought to myself, I don't remember us having one of those here. It was at that point that I realized I was standing at the wrong damn campsite, amongst a bunch of people I have never met, while my group was watching from the next site over, laughing and wondering WTF I was doing. The strangers have a much scarier version of this same exact story. Tomorrow's Ask Reddit. What was the creepiest thing that happened while you were camping? Freaked out that I'd lost my iPod somewhere on the way to the train station. I got off the train and went back, retracing my steps all the way back to my apartment, only to realize that I was listening to music the whole time, on my iPod. I did that without being high. Me. Completely sober driving home from work. Oh shit, I forgot my keys at work. Oh, how would I be driving then? Huh? Was hotboxing and used my windshield wipers to try and clear the smoke. Got up to leave my bedroom and knocked on the door before opening it to go out. I relate to this calm, polite kind of high. My friend is restless when he's high, so he was standing at the edge of the living room while most of our group was seated. I wanted to sit down too, but I ended up standing behind him because I thought we had to wait in a line to get into the living room. Spent 45 minutes looking for my glasses with my friend. Said duck it BC, I had to leave and was now running late. When I went to put on my sunglasses I smashed them onto my glasses. I had my glasses on my ducking face the whole time and neither myself or my friend noticed. That's on him. 100%. I'd probably be like, dude, I thought you meant another pair of glasses. I was on acid at a music festival and asked a cop if he would name a hurricane after me. Fortunately he thought that was funny. This one time I was coming up morning of day 2 Coachella and had just gotten to the bank of lockers where our group's stuff was stored. I was reaching for the locker but just couldn't get to it and the key wouldn't go in. My friend walks up to me, grabs the key out of my hand and I swear in one step traverses the distance of a football field and unlocks the door. Turns out the hit had just hit me like a freight train and I was on my hands and knees in the grass about 6 feet from the locker with my arm outstretched trying to insert a key. Depth perception, man. That was a great day. I was on acid at a music festival. Was on the dance floor when I felt I had to pee. So I head off to the toilets. They were filthy, so I said duck it, I'll go piss in the woods. Get to the tree line and I feel like everyone is watching me. Reckon that I've exhausted my options, so I head back to the dance floor. Get there and realize I have to pee. Guess I'll go to the toilets. Did it 2 more times. Don't remember where I ended up pissing. Ordered food for delivery. Forgot. Went to grocery store for stuff to BBQ. Remembered about the food for delivery while paying in line. Did you buy the stuff anyways? Don't remember. It's been a long time. Or maybe it's only been 20 minutes and you're still waiting for your food. Me and 2 friends went on a hike in these hills in my neighborhood one time. We hike for about 30-40 minutes and we're on top of this big ass hill admiring the view and decide we should order pizza when head down so it can arrive right when we get back. We're filling out an online order to have prepared for when we get closer to the bottom and then accidentally placed the order on top of the hill. We were all like oh shit and literally ran all the way down the hill and back to my house. Caught the pizza dude literally right as we get to the house. Sweaty AF. We also ended up giving the guy $20 extra on accident. One time I came back inside from a back porch smoke and put my lighter in the sink. My reasoning was I'll put it in the dishwasher later. For the millionth time, Black David Duchovny, if you're gonna leave it in the sink at least let it soak. As a dishwasher, this sentence hurt me. It's not that weird, but I get really weird sensations when I'm high. Other people probably get it too, but I just don't know how to describe it. But one time I was just rubbing my leg a little because I was cold, and my friend was sitting next to me. So then I was like, well, I can feel my hand and I can feel my leg. I wonder if I can feel hers. So I rubbed her leg and was like, wow, I can't feel it, and I didn't really understand why. My friend just laughed at how stupid I was. LMAO. The first time I tried weed I couldn't stop licking my lips. BC they were tingly. The first time I did mushrooms I was obsessing over every touch. BC there were 3 layers to it. The layer where my hand could feel it, the layer where my body could feel it, and the layer where I was seeing it. And the first time I did acid I spent a solid hour or more making biscuits with my feet and the blanket on the couch that they were wrapped in. The weed lips thing has gone away now that I smoke regularly, but I haven't done mushrooms or acid a second time yet. Hopefully soon on the acid, but the mushrooms I could wait a bit longer on. They weren't as good. Eating yogurt with a fork in front of my parents. My dad waited for about 10 minutes to say that a spoon might make it easier. I just imagine a slightly disappointed look on your father's face as he leans against the counter watching you attempt this and wondering if he should say anything. More of a WTF are you doing look. Back then I was high every day after work, but for some reason my dad always asked me if I was high on those rare moments I came home not being high. A few years ago I was on shrooms with some friends and we went on a walk to smoke a cig. Every time I took a puff of my cigarette, I was expecting to taste Mountain Dew and I was disappointed every time that it didn't. I quit smoking cigs a few days after that. Crazy. Mushrooms helped my friend quit smoking too. She was standing there smoking and all of a sudden just held it in front of her face, went, I am breathing ducking fire, and never smoked again. Psilocybin helps people quit smoking at really high rates. There's been studies on it. Not to make you feel bad, like your story is insignificant or something. Just wanted to make it known to more people. The more people that can quit smoking the better. It's been really cool to watch the news start making the connections between shrooms and helping people. I think I've seen studies on them helping people with PTSD at least, if not others. It's really cool what can happen when we stop demonizing plants and start looking at how they can help. Nature's neat. I came home cross-faded one night, easily the most intoxicated I'd ever been. I walked into the living room and pushed the TV to the back of the table. Instead of the couch I sat down where the TV used to be and stared at the couch silently, alone, and in the pitch black darkness for at least 30 seconds before saying out loud, so this is what it's like to be a TV. I realized then I'd had way too much and went to bed before I hurt myself. Did you actually go to bed, or did your couch just change the channel? Ducking chill man. That was way too deep. Deep enough to find some change in the couch. Completely freaked out because everyone around me was speaking a foreign language and I couldn't understand anything. Note to self, don't get high in a foreign country. Went to let the dog out and I walked out instead and left my dog inside. A few weeks ago I let my dog out, then promptly shut him in the garage and forgot to go inside with him. Went to the backyard door instead. Went inside and went to bed. For over an hour I was tossing and turning. Something just felt off. Bolt up in bed and realize I forgot my deer, bear, stray cat, and livestock chasing I found outside in the middle of my rural farm town. I run outside half naked screaming for my dog thinking he's gonna get shot by an angry farmer or get eaten in a bear fight. After 15 minutes nearly crying give up and go into the garage to find my sweet boy politely wagging his tail LOL. Ate a whole bowl of cereal with a fork. Took me like 2 minutes to figure out why TF it was taking so long and why I wasn't getting any milk. There is a guy at the match 2 rows in front of me who eats a pie with a coffee stirrer. I had an old boss eat a salad with a hair comb. Blew on my cereal to cool it down. Hey, you can never be too careful. The very first time I got high, my lovely friend told me you'll know when you've had enough, so of course I smoked a ton. When I wasn't moving, it felt like time had stopped. I had no idea what was going on. If I moved though, I was completely fine. I ended up dancing to no music by myself as long as I could before I went to sleep. I think I went to sleep anyway. Time wasn't working. I may have just laid there for 8 hours. I love hate how time just kinda breaks. Back in high school I was at a buddy's with several friends and I was sitting at the table alone just thinking my thoughts. I'd been talking with friends but they went to the next room and were sitting on the couch. One of them goes, "It's only been 15 minutes. We've been sitting here for at least an hour." And I piped up, "15 minutes? You guys were just sitting here 2 minutes ago. Good ol' weed." Every time I get stoned, I just want to confine myself to the smallest space possible. It's not a fear or anxiety thing. Stoned me genuinely feels more comfortable under a table or bed, or even inside a cardboard box. This one time. Are you a cat? If I fits I sits. Got high, ate a bunch of jalapeno poppers. Not that weird. No. The weird part was the calendar appointment I made for myself the next morning that just said ha 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 ha. Jaime apparently predicted the right time for my morning bowel movement, and as those little jalapeno poppers burned again on the way out, he reached out across time and space to laugh at sober me about it. I love when high drunk selves do stuff like this. I did the opposite. When I was about to smoke up after a long break, I wrote Jaime a note, reassuring myself that everything was okay. No one was going to be coming to the house, that my girlfriend wasn't mad at me, that it was okay to drink a little rum but not too much, and that I should hydrated. I stared at ants outside for a solid hour and a half, just going about their business. I'm not too fond of insects sober, but when I'm high they're so goddamn interesting. I did this once with fish. Sat by the side of a river and spaced the duck out looking at this one fish that was chilling out. Very calming. I did this once while flying on mushrooms. Sat on a rock and stared down at tiny fish swimming in a shallow creek, with occasional dragonflies flying a few inches above the water. Reminded me of an overhead shot of a busy highway, the fish being cars and the dragonflies being passing helicopters. Then I noticed a shadow on the ground, zipping past. Then another. I looked up and some buzzards were circling overhead at low altitude. I guess thinking I was dead or dying because I was so absorbed by the fish and dragonflies I hadn't moved in 30 minutes. So I stood up and yelled at the buzzards. "Not today, mother duckers. I'm not your lunch." All in all, a memorable day. I thought that, if I became rich, I'd keep all my money in pennies to prevent people from stealing it. Also once tried roasting a hot dog with no stick, just holding the wiener in my hand over an open flame. It did not work. It didn't work cause you didn't try hard enough. I started to get random sensations all over my body. The inside of my left thigh was getting really warm and I had to keep checking every few minutes to see I hadn't pissed myself. I've had this. I got really bad anxiety that I'd pissed my pants being sat on my friend's chair. I went upstairs to the bathroom to check like 4 times just to be sure. Used my phone torch to find my phone in the dark. Did you find it? He's still searching, my dude. His torch died and the phone is charging now. Meanwhile he is looking with matches. I ate mushrooms by myself and some guy dropped off pizza at my house so I signed for it. Only thing is, I didn't order any pizzas. My boyfriend came home and said, "You ordered pizza?" It had been sitting on the table for hours. I thought I dreamt it. Whoops, the guy came to the wrong house. But I did tip him handsomely so I did the right thing. This should just be a commonplace business idea in Colorado. Take a few extra pizzas around town knocking on smoky college house doors at closing, getting a decent tip, and they don't even remember they ordered one. I was thinking about how great my friends are and how pretty they are and decided I should talk to myself like that too. So I tried on all these clothes I feel self-conscious in and gave myself a bunch of compliments. This is adorable. Did it help? It really did. I was ducked up looking for my hotel in Atlantic City. Somehow got there and woke up the next morning to just hotel being in the search bar of my Spotify. That was my best effort. In no particular order. Woke up to the remote control for the TV inside of the fridge from the night before. Let YouTube autoplay for so long that I was eventually watching Fire Truck Drag Racing, and everyone's favorite. Watched hours upon hours of the Yule Log TV show with my friends. So much that we knew when the hand was going to come into the scene to move the logs around. Everyone leaves this thread to search for Fire Truck Drag Racing. Went to White Castle to get food for everyone after we smoked. We all had the same order. 2 double cheese sliders and an order or mozzarella sticks. When I gave her my order, I didn't just say that I wanted 8 double cheese sliders in total. I repeated the 2 double cheese sliders and mozzarella sticks 4 times. By the time I got to the end of my order, the cashier sounded so defeated. I still cringe thinking back to that moment. But it's also one of my funniest smoke stories. Got high in a soccer field after dark, laying down, looking up at the stars. I suddenly felt the spin so bad that I grabbed onto the grass cause I swear I was going to call off the planet. Years ago, before the internet, was having a panic attack while high. Wanted to connect with the Ask a Nurse hotline, but couldn't remember the number. Kept calling 411 asking them to connect me to 1-800-NURSE-ME. One time my eye was really dry, so I stopped drinking my water and started slowly pouring water into my eye. All of it while I was sitting on my friend's bed, leaving just a bit so I could still have one gulp. Once, while partaking with my friends, we all started talking about the cotton mouth we were all experiencing, and one guy related it to getting red eyes while high. He then said, "I wish there was something like eye drops but for your mouth for when you have cotton mouth." Then another immediately replied, "Oh, they do. It's called water." I bought a cowgirl outfit on Amazon and learned to play 9/5 by Dolly Parton. I'm a guy, by the way. I remember thinking that I was going to be some crazy successful cover artist with that gimmick. The cowgirl outfit doesn't fit BTW, not even close. I think a lot of us would like you to follow your dream. Requesting pics of you squeezed into the alleged cowgirl outfit. The first time I smoked keef was my 21st birthday after already drinking way too much. The fade was so intense that I couldn't walk. My friends put me in my bed, but for some reason I felt the need to not be in my room. So with my non-functioning legs, I crawled on my elbows down the hall and down a staircase to an empty bedroom where I laid on the floor in the dark for 30 minutes. Then I got uncomfortable laying on the ground, so I miraculously regained control of my legs and managed to remove the door to the bedroom to lay on. Pretty solid mattress if you like yours firm. Well, that escalated quickly. From not feeling your legs to removing the goddamn door and using it as mattress. Before we moved from California, my wife wanted to see me get really high just once. She'll never make that mistake again. I literally was incapable of not talking. My ADD brain was running at 200 miles per hour and the filter to my mouth was disengaged. What sort of shit did you talk about? What was the really weird shit that started coming out after normal topics were exhausted? Find a 10-year-old kid. Convince him he's going to Hogwarts. Stage a Diagon Alley somewhere, with actors and special effects. Have him get his school things. Give him his ticket for the Hogwarts Express. Take him to King's Cross Station. Tell him he just needs to run through the wall. Then disappear. Have cameras set up to film the aftermath. Walked up to the bathroom mirror with a flashlight. Shined it on my eyes and studied the color patterns of my eyes for about 20 minutes straight, and singing loudly at the same time. Was watching a Korean drama when I had a whole freak out when I realized, holy shit, I suddenly understand Korean. I woke my BF up and made him watch with me as I translated for him. He laughed at me for 5 minutes before he told me I was actually just reading the subtitles. I decided to BBQ a tri-tip I had been marinating for a couple days and set up my camper grill in the pickup bed of my truck while it was raining outside. Halfway through the grilling process I thought to myself, maybe this isn't the best idea. So I decided to finish the cook indoors, but my dumbass removed the mini propane tank before the flame was completely out. That was a terrible mistake. I could have easily burned my face off had I not immediately jumped out of the pickup bed like an action movie stunt double. I ended up belly flopping onto the wet grass, and to make things even better I ducking landed in dog shit. Maybe don't try that ever again. Just commented this on another Ask Riddick post, but one time I was leaving California and was really high going through airport security, and when I was taking off my belt I proceeded to unbutton my pants and almost pulled them down until I caught myself. Tsar agent and I shared a good laugh. Made a cup of tea with cold water and proceeded to put the entire concoction into the microwave. When I discovered that the door wouldn't close because the mug was too big, I tipped a bit of water from the mug and tried again. How big was this ducking mug? peed with laptop in one hand in the dark while watching a movie on the laptop. Did that like moments ago. Still high. Ate a bowl of cereal with heavy cream because I thought it was milk. I'm lactose intolerant. Poisoned myself accidentally by smoking out of the big Poland Spring water container. The plastic melted. Put honey in my pubes so that I'd never go hungry again. Putting honey in your pubes is the kind of thing that gives a nicknames. Cried after watching the selfie music video from Chainsmokers. I once walked in on my mother crying over a cat food commercial. Back in college, I got super baked with friends, like almost non-verbal, tunnel vision stoned. We went to this donut place near campus, Ken's Donuts if anyone is familiar with the UT Austin area. I was staring at the counter full of donuts. I felt like I was standing there for like a minute quietly humming and thinking. Apparently, it was closer to 10 minutes and I was loudly humming the theme song to Jurassic Park over and over again. For some reason we were listening to it on the drive over and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I laughed my ass off multiple times while eating the donuts after the whole standing humming like a moron thing I was doing. Me to my friend one time when I was high. Dude, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Okay, what am I thinking? If someone rubs their face really hard it looks like they're rubbing their skin off their face to make it into a mask. That was not what he was thinking. To this day I have no idea what came over me. Buddy of mine started petting the TV remote like a cat. Sometimes you just need a friend. The first time I got high, the first thing my friend asked me was, "How are you feeling?" And I just sat there for about 45 seconds thinking to myself, I'm just so relaxed, everything is so still, before I said to them, "Whoa, I'm a plate." I had a very long conversation by a fire with some guy who was high on something, while I was high on something else. We were in that zone where he really needed someone to listen to him in order to hold it together. To this day I can't tell if he was talking absolute gibberish or I was just hearing gibberish, but I smiled and nodded for a very long time. Edit. Thanks for the nice comments. The dumbest thing I've done while I was high was think my bowl of cereal was my phone and just tossed the whole bowl, milk, cereal, spoon, onto my bed. That was a ducking mess. Some girls in high school invited me to go smoke and swim in a creek with them. Of course I went and got high as duck. Spent the next 30 minutes sitting in the creek. I was so still that a fish came up and bit my ass. I didn't realize what I was doing until one of the girls asked me why the duck I was all alone sitting in the middle of a creek not moving. I had a really sudden random, weird taste in my mouth. I yelled, quite loudly, "Bleh," and everyone around whipped their heads to look at me. I could tell by the look on their face, WTF is wrong with you? I was very embarrassed to say the least. Set my voicemail message to "I'm so high right now." That's how my entire family learned I smoked weed. I was trying to set my voicemail box up, but gave up. Had a bunch of cannabis with my roommate, and after 3 hours, it hadn't kicked in. So we walked to the discount grocery store, of course. That's when it hit us hard. We ended up finding this massive bag of cheese puffs. I've never before or since seen a bag this big. And on the way back home we opened it up and started munching. Well, we passed a 24-hour fitness, the kind with wall-to-wall windows, and we couldn't fathom why anyone would want to work out over eating cheese puffs. We pressed ourselves in front of the windows, eating and mocking those inside until a worker came out and told us to leave. My friend's cat and I had the most deep conversation about life. Ever since we've had the utmost respect for each other. Watched myself dance in the mirror for maybe 20 minutes. I ate an entire block of cheddar cheese, methodically slicing it and applying different condiments to every slice until it was all gone. Sriracha, honey, peanut butter, ketchup, BBQ sauce, every kind of mustard, ranch, Caesar, Vegemite, Frank Red Hot, curry paste, wasabi, soy sauce, teriyaki sauce, strawberry and raspberry jam, grape jelly, Miracle Whip and mayonnaise. That is literally everything. To this day my favorite snack is honey and sriracha on cheddar. Went to a job interview and said, "You're hired," to the person interviewing me. I called my mother and began telling her about my genius idea of replacing shoelaces with spaghetti strands that linked with each other. "Whoa, you made it to the end?" You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.